What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So here it is. It's a new bike day. I'm here in the mountains, just doing some break-in miles. So there's nobody here. So I figure I'll kind of make a video about the bike, I guess, now. So I just got this like a couple days ago. So really like 100 miles in. So as you can see, the rear section is like brand new. The tires are brand new. So this is super fresh. So I had to ride it just to see like what I can say. I don't want to just, do a review after I just took it home. So anyways, this is a 2026 Streetfighter V4S. As you guys know or don't know, the 2025 era of Street Fighters are completely like revamped. So I don't have to give you guys all the spec sheets. You guys can look that up on yourself. But the highlights is it's basically like a real Panigale V4S, like with just no fairings. So it's as close as it can get with no fairings. So in other terms, it's a comfortable kind of super bike. So back then there was a huge gap. Not really huge, but like there's a gap between Street Fighter versus the sport bike version of the bike. But now it's very, very small. 208 horsepower, they say. I wouldn't know. It's just really fast. I'm riding it on road mode right now, and it's still like kind of scary a little bit. So I'm still trying to get used to it, get comfortable. I'm in elevation, so I'm running out of breath a little bit. But my first impression coming here, 1 hour of riding it, riding so far, it's super comfortable. The heat is still there. I had a V4R back in the day, 5 years ago, 2021. I would say the heat is similar, but if I can kind of bridge the gap, I would say it's like a V4R-esque, but with, super comfortable. So if you guys are wondering how it is, it's like that. It's like the power delivery is the same in my mind. It's the same thing. It's like a pissed off, in a good way. It's like a pissed off machine, but it's so nice and it's hard to put it in words. It's not like a Super Duke. The Super Duke is like, it's like a brute, right? It's like muscle. It's like a muscle bike. This one is more refined. It's a more refined like muscle car. So I guess if you're gonna compare it, let's say a Dodge Challenger, Charger, something like that, and this is like a Mustang GT 350R, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of going off of my head here. It's just that's kind of like how I compare it. It's a very refined um, V4. It's a V4. It's a very refined feel. So, anyways, yeah, V twin versus V4, of course. So, anyway, so before I landed on this bike, I was shopping the Tuono because I wanted to bridge the. I wanted to like go down to just one bike. I had the S1000RR and the 1250 GSA. If you guys don't remember, I always kept two bikes or more. But lately, I don't ride that much. I only ride on the track. Most of the time, I'm camping and doing other stuff, family stuff. So life's changed. I'm not really riding all that much. So I kind of want to bridge the gap, and I don't want to keep too many vehicles. Um, the reason that's why I want to go with a naked bike again is that, and what else? Yeah, so bridge the two, comfort plus power. So I was shopping the Tuono, the everything, the Triumph Speed Triple RS 1200, the Super Duke, of course, my longtime love Super Duke, and the I think that's pretty much it. Tuono, Street Fighter, and the Triumph and the KTM. So I wasn't really looking at this because this is the most expensive of the bunch. But when I saw the Tuono, it's like wow. It's like, but my limiting factor is I wanted to take it on track days and I want to use my van. So my van setup, I have a hitch carrier. This is the lightest bike out of the bunch. They're rated at 417 horsepower, 417 pounds, and then 420 or 420, something like that. It's super light. It's the lightest bike of the bunch. So from that alone, it's like, okay, it's like no brainer. Like this is the choice. Also, it's the fastest of the bunch. So lightest, fastest. It's like the combination is just it's hard to ignore. So, my music is playing in here. Anyways, so I don't know, you buy once, kind of cry once, you know. Like say, just buy the one that you want, you know. The Tuono isn't bad. It's just that it's actually the most affordable of the bunch. You can get the factory 1100 Tuono V4 for like 20,000 bucks. So it's the cheapest of the bunch because the 13. Yeah, because the Triumph Speed Triple is a little bit higher than that, and then the Super Duke is about the same as the Triumph, and then this one is like way much. It's like $8,000 more. So if you can get the V4, you're about 5K over the Tuono, but then if you get this one, it's like 30K. So yeah, but you know, like I said, it's like I wanna just buy one time and not regret it. So I think this, if you know, you got to just do it that way because you're gonna end up like spending again, selling the other one, and getting this one, getting the next one. So, anyways, I've never owned a Ducati that had this kind of dash. It's a super informative dash. It's you have so much information in here. So now you have telemetry. So before you didn't, on the V4R, you don't have telemetry. Like on the BMW, you have telemetry. You have lean angle sensor. You have G sensor in here, and you don't have tire pressure monitor. You don't have fuel gauge as usual. So you have ride modes. So I'm just gonna go through the functionality real quick, but you guys can also look it up with other videos that went through this already. Ride modes. There's this suspension right here. It's a semi-active suspension, right? So, but this one acts differently than the other semi-active suspensions. So this one here, you can either have it act like a fixed suspension or a semi-active suspension, and within those modes, you can actually edit the parameters of the semi-active suspension, and you can also edit the parameters of the fixed suspension. And within each riding mode, you can choose whether you want it to use a semi-active characteristic or a fixed characteristic. So it's just, the whole bike is just crazy. Like, it's every part of it can be edited by the user, so it's kind of confusing. So for me, I just set the track, the race mode. I set that to the fixed suspension characteristic, and then when I get to track, I will just edit it, with the suspension guy, Dave Moss or whoever, and set the settings there. But the rest, I'll just keep it semi-active because I want to ride it on the street, and I just want the computer to do the work for me. I don't want to have to be super precise and doing the clickers on my own. I don't care about that. So I only care about this on the track. So that's what it is. So anyways, that's kind of like super compact explanation of its functionality. There's, like I said, the video would be so much longer if I had to dive into each one. But I just kind of want to give you guys a general overview of what this bike's capable of. 200 horsepower, dual size swing arm now. They told me that the engineering behind this is that it's able to flex laterally. So while you're at the corner, not only that it goes up and down, the swing arm flexes up and down, but it also flexes side to side. So it's really like following the undulations of the road, I guess. But I wouldn't know until I ride on the track. So I gotta get those break-in miles and get there. So anyways, 9 minutes in, I just want to give you guys a quick overview. I'm gonna ride this back home and kind of digest a little bit more of the information. I already know what I want to change on this bike for sure off the bat. Of course, I want to change the brakes to the Corsa Corta again. I just got spoiled with that mod. Like, that's the first mod I suggest doing for anyone. Like, it's just get that brakes, be confident on the brakes, because this thing is so mushy on the stock. It's like, look at the play. It's just, it's okay, but it's just like, once you tried a Corsa Corta like RCS 19, you just want to ride one without one. So I got the radiator guards for sure, the bare essential mods, right? Brakes, protection pieces, Fender eliminator. I don't really care anymore about fender eliminators. I did buy one. I just don't even. I'm not even in a rush to put it on, because like I said, if I go on the street, you know, police won't bother you when you have this thing on. But then when you're on the track, you take it off anyway. So like, what's the point, right? I guess I just don't care now. I like the look of the bike as is stock. So sure, I can delete the mirrors. I can delete the fender. Sure, it will look more aggressive. But unless I find the right combination that looks really good but functional as well, I won't change it, because I don't want to have to be bothered by cops, you know, riding. This is my only bike now, so I'm gonna be riding sometimes to work, you know, crossing like long distances, and you know, different cops, different areas. I don't want to be bothered. So anyways, exhaust, we'll think about that when we get there, but right now I'm worrying about the break-in. The exhaust sounds good for stock. It doesn't look great, but it sounds pretty okay. I'm probably just going to do a half exhaust. I'm not going to do a full exhaust on this. So half exhaust and a tune. But that's the Brembo High Pure calipers right there. You have to delete this. You have to. I got the spacers already to delete that marker. I did the same way. I did the same thing with the V4R. So there it is. Anyways, guys, 11 minutes in. I just want to keep this kind of short. I don't want to ramble on, but it's a nice day. Breaking in the bike, so it's gonna take me a couple more weeks, maybe a week, because I don't really ride that much lately. So, anyways, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. If you guys have any questions about the bike in general, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.